Welcome to our deep dive. And today we're going to unlock the power of
Oh, yeah.
a principle that can truly change how you see the world and how you approach
Absolutely.
your life. Have you ever heard of the 80-20 principle?
I think most people have heard of it, but
Yeah.
they don't really understand the power of it.
We're going to dissect it
Yeah.
today
Yeah.
using Richard Koch's book as our guide.
That's a great book to use.
And trust me, this isn't some dusty old business theory.
Right.
It's a powerful tool that can revolutionize how you approach work relationships
Yeah.
and even happiness.
For sure.
Today, we'll extract the core principles of this 80-20 rule, see how it pops up everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And most importantly, figure out how you can use it to get more done with less effort and stress.
That's the key takeaway, right? Work less and get more.
Exactly.
That's what everybody wants.
So it all starts with the simple observation.
Yeah.
Back in the late 1800s, an economist named Pareto
Pareto, yeah.
noticed that 80% of Italy's land was owned by just 20% of the people.
Interesting.
But this wasn't just some Italian real estate quirk.
Right.
This imbalance, this 80-20 split started popping up everywhere.
Yeah, it's like suddenly realizing there's a pattern to things
Oh, yeah.
that seemed completely random before, like, it was just chance or luck.
Yeah.
But no, there's this underlying principle.
It's like the universe is trying to tell us something.
Yeah, and if we can understand that principle and harness it,
Yeah.
imagine what we can achieve.
Exactly. So think about quality control, for example.
Oh, yeah, that's a great example.
In the early 20th century, a quality guru named Joseph Juran
Yeah, I love Duran.
found that 80% of defects in manufacturing came from just 20% of the causes.
That's huge.
That's a huge realization.
Instead of spreading your resources thin, trying to fix everything,
Yeah.
you can pinpoint that crucial 20%
Mm.
and get a massive improvement with laser-focused effort.
Exactly. So it's not about trying to be perfect in every single area. It's about identifying
Right.
those key areas where you can make the biggest impact.
And you know what's really cool?
What?
This isn't just some abstract theory. It was put to the test in the tech world way back in the 1960s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
IBM discovered that 80% of a computer's processing time was spent running just 20% of its code.
So they were wasting all this processing power on code that wasn't really doing much?
Exactly. And what did they do?
What?
They completely rewrote their software to optimize that crucial 20% of the code, giving them a huge competitive edge.
Wow. That's incredible. So by focusing on that
Yeah.
small but vital part of their code, they were able to make massive gains.
Imagine the impact of focusing your effort on the things that truly matter. It's like finding a shortcut everyone else is missing.
It's like a cheat code for success.
Exactly.
So how does this apply to you right here, right now? Think about your own workday. Do you feel like you're constantly busy, but maybe not always getting the biggest bang for your buck?
A lot of people feel that way.
That's where the 80-20 principle gets really interesting. It completely challenges the idea that effort and output are always directly proportional.
That old school thinking that you just got to grind it out and put in the hours,
Right.
the 80-20 principle flips that on its head.
So it's not about working harder. It's about working smarter.
Exactly. It's a wake-up call to start thinking differently about how we allocate our time and energy.
I'm ready to wake up.
Koch argues that this principle applies to practically every area of life, from relationships to careers, finances, and even time management itself.
So it's not just about our work life, it's about our entire lives.
Exactly. It's about finding that 20% that really makes a difference in every aspect of our existence.
I like that. So for example, think about your relationships. Do you get the same level of value from every single person you interact with?
Probably not. Some relationships are just more fulfilling and enriching than others.
It's true. We all have those people in our lives who just bring us joy and energy.
Exactly. And those are the relationships we need to nurture.
So it's not about ranking our friends or anything like that.
Right. It's not about cutting people off.
It's about recognizing that some relationships are just more meaningful and investing our time and energy accordingly.
The key is to identify those relationships that bring you the most joy and invest in them deeply.
And this applies to your career as well.
Oh, absolutely.
80% of your success likely stems from just 20% of your efforts. So the big question is, what is that 20% for you?
That's the million-dollar question.
What are those high-impact activities that truly move the needle? Once you identify them, you can start leveraging them for greater success.
It's like finding your superpower
Exactly.
and then using it to its full potential.
And let's not forget about finances.
Oh, yeah, money manners.
A lot of people think that building wealth is about grinding away, working more hours, and saving every penny.
Yeah, that old school mentality again.
But Koch dives into the power of compounding and investing, demonstrating that focusing on the right investments, that strategic 20%,
That's the key.
can make all the
It's
difference.
not about being a penny pitcher. It's
Yeah.
about being smart with your money.
Exactly. So it's not just about working harder, it's about working smarter. The 80/20 principle is all about identifying those vital few actions or inputs that drive the majority of our desired outcomes.
It's about maximizing your impact with every move you make.
And this is a powerful principle that companies are using to revolutionize their business strategies.
Businesses are always looking for an edge,
Yeah,
and the 80/20 principle is a powerful one.
that's right. They're realizing that 80% of their profits might come from just 20% of their customers.
So instead of treating every customer equally,
Yeah,
they're shifting their focus to keep those high-value customers.
the VIPs.
Exactly, the ones who truly drive their success happy and coming back for more.
So it's about understanding who your most valuable customers are and making sure they feel valued.
Exactly, because losing those customers can have a huge impact on your bottom line.
It's a complete shift in mindset, and it's all about leveraging the power of unequal distribution to maximize results.
It's about recognizing that not all customers are created equal and focusing your efforts where they matter most.
And it doesn't stop there. Companies are also applying this principle to their product lines.
Instead of trying to be everything to everyone,
Yeah.
they're streamlining their offerings, focusing on the 20% of products that generate 80% of their profits.
So it's about simplifying your product line and focusing on what sells best.
Exactly. It's about cutting the clutter and getting rid of the dead weight.
It's all about simplifying, prioritizing, and maximizing efficiency.
And don't forget about strategic alliances.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of trying to build a vast network of superficial connections,
Right.
they're choosing a few high-quality alliances that can truly amplify their impact. Again, the 80/20 principle in action.
So it's about quality over quantity when it comes to partnerships.
Exactly. It's about finding those key relationships that can really help you grow.
And here's something that might surprise you. This principle has even been used to combat crime.
I love this example.
Koch highlights a case study in New York City where they drastically reduced crime by concentrating police efforts on the 20% of criminals in situations causing 80% of the problems. It's a powerful example of how understanding this imbalance can lead to incredibly effective solutions, even in complex societal challenges.
It's about working smarter, not harder in law enforcement, too.
Right. It's about using data and analysis to identify those areas where you can make the biggest impact.
And then focusing your resources accordingly.
But Koch doesn't shy away from the potential downsides of the 80/20 principle, especially in a world grappling with increasing inequality and rapid technological advancements. He acknowledges that this principle, if not used responsibly, could exacerbate existing imbalances.
That's a valid concern.
So it's not a magic bullet. It's a tool that needs to be used thoughtfully and ethically.
It's about using this knowledge to create a more just and equitable world, not to exploit or amplify existing inequalities.
It's about being mindful of the potential consequences and making sure we're using this principle for good. So we've seen how this principle can be applied to everything from business to crime fighting. But what about something even more fundamental, education?
Yeah, it's a big one.
Koch argues that traditional education systems, with their emphasis on rote learning and standardized tests, often miss the mark when it comes to truly engaging students and helping them learn effectively.
I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Imagine if we could identify and focus on the 20% of teaching methods that truly unlock student potential. What if we could implement the approaches that lead to the most profound learning and growth? That's the kind of revolution Koch envisions, a shift from a one-size-fits-all model to a system that prioritizes the most effective methods tailored to individual needs.
That's a powerful vision.
It's a radical idea, right? It's about questioning the fundamental assumptions of how we approach education and seeking out those high-impact methods.
It's about putting the needs of the students first.
And it's a call to action for anyone invested in the future of learning. So we've covered a lot of ground here, from Pareto's initial observation to IBM's software revolution, from personal relationships to tackling crime and even reimagining education.
We've barely scratched the surface.
But there's one more crucial area we haven't explored yet: happiness.
Ah, yes, the ultimate goal.
Because in the end, isn't that what it's all about?
Absolutely.
So in the next part of our deep dive, we'll explore how the 80/20 principle can be applied not just to achieving external success,
Right.
but also to cultivating a deeper sense of inner fulfillment and joy.
Stay tuned.
We'll see you back here soon for part 2.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our deep dive into the 80/20 principle. We left off talking about how this principle can be applied to practically every facet of life, from business strategies to education.
And as promised, we're turning our attention to perhaps the most important application of all. How can we use the 80/20 principle to unlock greater happiness?
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of success and achievement, climbing that ladder, striving for more.
Yeah, we're all kind of conditioned to chase those external markers of success.
But what's the point of it all if we're not actually enjoying the ride?
Exactly. So, how do we make sure we're not just spinning our wheels, but actually moving towards a life that feels truly fulfilling?
That's the real question, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Koch challenges that old saying, money can't buy happiness. He suggests it's more nuanced than that. Money used strategically can absolutely create opportunities for happiness.
So it's not about being rich, it's about having the resources to live a life that's aligned with your values.
Exactly. It's about freedom and choice.
So it's not about chasing riches for their own sake. It's about using your resources to build a life that's aligned with what truly matters to you.
Think of it this way. Imagine having the freedom to spend your time doing work you love surrounded by people you cherish and having the means to pursue your passions. That's where the 80/20 principle comes in. It can help you identify and prioritize the things that bring you genuine joy.
Okay, I like where this is going. So instead of spreading ourselves thin trying to do everything, we should focus on those key areas that truly light us up.
Exactly. It's about being intentional with your time and energy.
That makes a lot of sense.
But it's not just about external factors like money or career. Koch also emphasizes the importance of setting attainable goals.
Right, because constantly striving for something that's always just out of reach is a recipe for frustration, right?
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot between challenge and achievability.
And he highlights the importance of flexibility. Life is full of unexpected twists and turns. Being able to adapt and adjust our expectations is crucial for maintaining a sense of happiness and well-being.
You got to be able to roll with the punches.
So we need to be able to roll with the punches and not get too attached to a rigid plan. That's a good reminder.
And of course, strong personal relationships are essential for happiness. Think about the people in your life who make you feel loved, supported, and understood. Those connections are priceless.
Absolutely. Having a close, supportive relationship with your partner can be a major source of happiness. But it's not just about romantic relationships. Having a few close, happy friends is equally important.
It's about quality over quantity. Those deep, meaningful connections are the ones that truly nourish our souls.
So how can we apply the 80/20 principle to our relationships? Should we start ranking our friends and cutting people off?
Not at all. It's not about being ruthless. It's about being mindful and intentional with your time and energy. Which relationships bring you the most joy? Which ones leave you feeling drained or unfulfilled? Those are the questions to ask yourself.
It's about recognizing that we have a limited amount of time and energy to invest, and we should be investing it in the relationships that truly matter to us.
Exactly. And remember, these principles apply to professional relationships as well. Having a few close, happy professional alliances can not only help you succeed in your career, but also contribute to your overall sense of fulfillment.
So it's about surrounding yourself with people who support you, inspire you, and challenge you to be your best self, both personally and professionally.
And here's another key insight from Koch. He encourages us to continually evolve our ideal lifestyle. Happiness isn't a static destination. It's an ongoing journey of discovery and refinement.
So what works for you today might not work for you tomorrow.
Exactly. It's about being open to new experiences, learning and growing, and constantly adjusting our course as we discover what truly brings us joy.
It's about being adaptable and embracing change.
He challenges us to be proactive in designing a life that aligns with our deepest values and aspirations.
So we're not just passively waiting for happiness to find us, we're actively creating it.
Exactly. It's about taking ownership of our happiness.
I like that.
To help us on that journey, Koch outlines what he calls the 7 habits of happiness. These are simple yet powerful practices that can help us cultivate a deeper sense of joy and well-being.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What are these habits?
First up is exercise. We all know that physical activity is good for our bodies, but it's also incredibly beneficial for our mental and emotional health.
So getting those endorphins flowing can really boost our mood and help us feel more energized. I can definitely attest to that.
Next is mental stimulation. Koch encourages us to engage in activities that challenge us intellectually. This could involve reading, writing, learning a new language, or having stimulating conversations.
It's about keeping our minds sharp and engaged, and it doesn't have to be about formal education. It could be anything that sparks your curiosity and makes you think.
Third on the list is spiritual or artistic stimulation. This could involve attending concerts, visiting art galleries, or simply spending time in nature. It's about connecting with something bigger than ourselves and experiencing beauty in all its forms.
Those moments of awe and wonder can be incredibly uplifting and inspiring.
He also suggests doing a good turn for someone else each day. Acts of kindness and generosity can boost our own happiness as well as the happiness of others.
It's amazing how something as simple as holding the door for someone or offering a genuine compliment can make a difference.
And don't forget to take a pleasure break with a friend. Spending time with loved ones sharing laughter and good conversation is a powerful antidote to stress and isolation.
It's those moments of connection and shared joy that truly make life worth living.
Next, give yourself a treat. Whether it's a delicious meal, a relaxing massage, or a new book, indulging in small pleasures can bring a spark of joy to our day.
It's important to celebrate ourselves and acknowledge our accomplishments. Even small treats can make a big difference.
And finally, take some time to congratulate yourself on your accomplishments, no matter how big or small. Recognizing and celebrating our successes can boost our self-esteem and motivation.
It's about giving ourselves credit where credit is due.
Exactly.
So we have our daily happiness habits, but what about those bigger picture strategies for creating a life that truly lights us up?
Koch offers what he calls 7 shortcuts to a happy life. These are principles that can guide us in designing a life that is both fulfilling and joyful.
Okay, let's hear them.
First and foremost, he emphasizes maximizing your control over your own life. Autonomy and agency are essential for happiness.
So it's about taking ownership of our choices and creating a life that aligns with our values and goals.
He also reiterates the importance of setting attainable goals and being flexible. And of course, he highlights the power of strong relationships, both personal and professional.
These are all themes we've touched on before, but it's good to be reminded of their importance.
He challenges us to find work that we enjoy and that aligns with our talents and interests. And he encourages us to cultivate a lifestyle that allows us to pursue those things that bring us joy.
This might involve simplifying our lives, reducing our commitments, or making more time for those activities that truly nourish our souls.
So we've explored the connection between money and happiness, the importance of daily habits and long-term life choices.
But the biggest takeaway for me is that happiness isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we actively create and cultivate.
It's about making conscious choices and taking deliberate actions.
And the 80-20 principle can be a valuable tool in that process. It challenges us to be more intentional with our time and energy to identify those few key areas that truly contribute to our happiness and focus on them relentlessly.
It's about working smarter, not just harder, in the pursuit of joy.
And it's about recognizing that happiness is not a static destination, but an ongoing journey of discovery and growth.
So as we wrap up this second part of our deep dive, I want to pose a question to think about your own life. What are those few key activities or relationships that bring you the most joy?
And how can you apply the 80-20 principle to amplify their presence in your life?
That's a great question, and one we'll continue to explore in part 3. We'll look at how the 80-20 principle can be used to unlock even greater levels of productivity and success in every area of life.
We'll see you back here soon for our final installment. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the 80-20 principle. We've seen how it applies to happiness, business, even tackling big societal issues, but now,
Let's get down to brass tacks.
let's bring it all home and get practical. How can you use this principle to work smarter, not harder, and achieve more with less effort?
This is where the rubber meets the road, right? We're moving from theory to a real action plan.
Exactly.
It's about taking these insights and applying them strategically to optimize your efforts and unlock incredible results.
So no more just thinking about it. It's time to actually put this stuff into practice.
Exactly.
Koch lays out a ton of cool strategies in the book, but let's tackle a big one. We all struggle with time management. He throws that whole work harder mentality right out the window.
Yeah, that old school grinded out approach, it's just not effective.
Now, what's the alternative?
The 80-20 approach is about finding and maximizing that 20% of your time that actually produces 80% of your results.
So it's about being super picky with how you spend your time and energy.
Exactly.
It's about saying no to low-value tasks, even if they seem urgent or everyone else is freaking out about them.
It's about focusing on what really matters.
And it's about delegating. Effectively, you don't have to do everything yourself. Learn to trust others to handle the tasks that don't require your specific expertise.
That frees you up to focus on what you do best, that crucial 20% where you truly shine. That's where the magic happens.
So it's about playing to your strength.
Exactly.
He also emphasizes being aware of your energy levels. We all have those peak times when we're most productive and creative.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely a morning person.
The 80-20 approach is about scheduling your most important tasks for those high-energy periods when you can really crush it.
And this might sound counterintuitive,
Okay.
but don't be afraid to take breaks.
Oh yeah, I'm all about breaks.
Rest and rejuvenation are essential for sustained productivity. Burning yourself out trying to go nonstop is the opposite of the 80-20 way.
So it's about working smarter, not harder, and part of that is knowing when to step away and recharge.
Exactly.
Another fascinating application is in decision-making. Polk argues that we often get stuck overthinking and overanalyzing every little detail.
Oh yeah, analysis paralysis, it's a real thing.
I've definitely been there. So what's the 80-20 solution?
It's about focusing on the key variables, the 20% of factors that really drive the outcome. Make decisions quickly and decisively, trusting your intuition and experience.
So it's about being decisive and not getting bogged down in the minutia.
And it's okay to change course if needed.
Right.
Don't be afraid to pivot if something isn't working. Flexibility is key.
So it's about being adaptable and willing to adjust your approach as you go.
Absolutely.
He also dives into the art of negotiation. This blew my mind. He says 80% of the concessions in a negotiation usually happen in the last 20% of the time. Think about that.
It's all about leverage.
So it's all about holding your ground early on, focusing on your non-negotiables, and then being willing to compromise on less important stuff later in the game. Fascinating.
It's about being strategic and selective, not just in your actions, but in your thinking as well. It's about realizing that in any system, there are key leverage points, those high-impact actions that can yield outsized results.
So it's about finding those pressure points where you can apply the most force and get the biggest results. And here's the really empowering part. Anyone can use this principle. It's not just for CEOs or high-powered execs. It's for students, artists, entrepreneurs, stay-at-home parents, anyone who wants to make the most of their time and talents.
It's a universal principle.
It's about understanding that success isn't about brute force effort. It's about working smarter. Find your strengths, focus on what you're passionate about, and align your actions with your goals. That's the 80-20 way.
It's about working with the universe, not against it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's bring it back to, you think about your own life. What's one area where you can start applying the 80-20 principle?
Remember, even small changes strategically applied can create remarkable results.
Yeah.
What's that 20% you can leverage to unlock more joy, success, or fulfillment in your life?
That's something to ponder. We hope this deep dive has given you the tools and inspiration to unlock your own 80-20 potential. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.